Oh, my audio's a little bit low there, is it? Oh, it's all right. It's actually all right. So 1685, good luck. So we've not played before, no head-to-head score. Opponent, 1600 games of rapid. What do? I normally do this or this. You can do this as well. There's lots of options, isn't there? Let's play knight up for this one. So we're not far off 1300 games now, not too far off. I'll go e6. What do I want to do? I'd better challenge for the centre, I think. It depends if he's going to play bishop down. We'll just go here. We'll enter castle. I could play a bolder c5. Don't want to be a little bit bold this game, but sometimes you run into these type of issues. No, I'll just play bishop here, preparing the castle. I might still do c5 or b6, c5. Lots of options. I normally do b6 anyway, and then bishop here. Sometimes here, but this is really the better principal move, just to go onto the diagonal. And then c5, just to try and blast at the center. How do I do this? If I play knight across now and we trade, we're still protected there, so we don't need the queen to cover. So we'll develop the knight preparing c6 or c5. The rook can come across, get into the game at some point. But sometimes these positions, it can be tricky for black. When you get the queen up and eventually get the rooks across, it can be a bit awkward. So I think we need to try and blast in the center before we lose the opportunity. It seems good to me. We've got three other pieces covering the square, so we'll go forward. If he takes, we can go with the knight. He can obviously drop back. But it's development for us. Now, knight in wasn't a move I was expecting, so what's he trying to achieve there? That's something you always say to yourself. Every move your opponent plays, every move you make, you're trying to come up with an idea of what you're trying to do, and you want to try and figure out what your opponent's doing. I'm not quite sure what he's doing there. If the bishop was coming up as well, getting a bit annoying. Maybe he wants us to push and kick him back. But yeah, if we just simply push there, he drops back. We've just basically gained a couple of free development moves, haven't we? Yeah, I don't see any reason not to do that. I know he's covering this, but he's covering it with the other knight anyway. But we could just take and try and leave him with isolated pawns. But I wonder if I can go here, and if he goes with a bishop, push on and kick him back again, with a view to going here. But maybe I'd need the rook across first, but it feels right to me. So I'm going to take here first and see how he takes back. Then we might take here as well, but at least we've opened up the scope for our bishop now. Okay, he has gone with the bishop. Now if I take here, we can take lots of ways. But do I go here with another free development move? I think I will, because I'm going to take here, so I'll just develop the pawn again. Now I could potentially take, and then he has to go with his pawn here. Then knight across. It feels nice, but I think rook across is a nice move as well. If he takes us, we're well protected. If he pushes, we're well protected. And we're threatening just that slightly unusual move, just to push on and takes, and just march a little bit forward, getting a little bit more space. If the queen wanders off, we're threatening this. So he wants to line up a big blow to us here. Right now we're protected though. We could play rook across, allowing the knight to drop back. Actually, if I push here now though and he takes, I could go with the rook. It's whether I want to chip away at the center. Is that the right move? Because if I take here, we actually attack the knight, don't we? So if I take here, does he have to go with the queen then? And then I can take here and open his defenses up. But if I take here first and he goes with the queen, I can gain a free pawn and attack the knight and take this one, but that gives him better development, I think. Yeah, so I like the idea of taking here first because we hit the knight. If he goes with the queen, we can take here. It still gives him an open file, but his king's more open. It's risk and reward. Risk and reward for both of us. But he's got to protect his knight or move it and potentially sack another pawn. But if we grab the pawn, it could be a poison pawn. It might just activate his bishop, so it might not be good to actually take it. But I'm sure he'll have seen this. We're just simply attacking the knight. He can go with the queen, which he's done. So can we deflect the queen? Say pawn forward here. If you go back here, we can come up. But then have you got knight takes? No, you don't. So we can push a pawn on. He has got knight takes and he's fine, isn't he? So it's not a move. So do I go for this? That's what I'm debating. take, queen develops, rook across. I'm going to risk it and do it. Queen up and rook across. We're going to attack the knight, but the problem is we've potentially opened the file for all his pieces. That's that risk and reward with chess. I'm trying to activate my rook, get my knight across, but I could do with my bishop going where the knight is here. Okay, you just need to see that knight's double attack, so maybe bishop here. That's what he's done. So if we go here, we could easily blunder taking back and a checkmate falls. That would not be clever. So I'm going to play knight here to reinforce this and prepare rook across to hit the queen. But yeah, I could do with the bishop being here where the knight is now to challenge this bishop. And then of course he can do a move like this to put the rook here coming down as well. That's why it could have been risky opening things up here. Queen across to hit the pawn. Bishop down, knight down might be a move. Not easy. Might be worth trying to get the queen off the board. Now he's gone there for that simple brute force attack, but here this is where I plan to just come across. Just hit the queen again, see if he goes back. Well, see if this knight moves, he crashes in. You don't really want to push this pawn up and really open up a can of worms here. You might have to, but you don't want to. Knight here now, or here now, should be a move now that the queen's not a risk. And I like the idea of doing this one so I can try and come here. I could even take with the rook and try and activate my rooks. Maybe something like that instead of going with the knight. Ah, no, I'm going to do the knight. If I do the knight, I've got bishop here and it's protected by the knight. So he's gone across to try and open this file up again. So I'm going to go here to deal with that bishop immediately. And if the bishop comes off, then a move like g6 is a little bit easier to play. And then we've got our rooks on nice files, or at least it feels like we have. Okay, take, so we take back. We're still well half a minute down on the clock. But yeah, once he gets his pieces into the game, it's very, very balanced in it. This structure might actually be good for white. If you can do this, rook up and then get behind your rook. Could be fine. Right, so how do we get forward here? I'm looking at queen up immediately just because it gives me a threat to attack his pawn. So queen up, I guess he just pushes on. We can't push on here because this is loose. Knight across is not a move because he's covered it, otherwise it would have threatened to jump in here. Yeah, I'm not sure what to do here. Other than queen forward, I mean, I guess I can play knight here threatening to come in. Knight here, and then what do I do? Queen around this way, or maybe rook up here with a view to coming across. Or to doubling up. I like the look of that actually. Rook up here might tempt him forward, and then we just step forward another one. But then I guess he just pushes on, but he can kind of do that anywhere. Queen here, does it achieve anything? Because he's threatening this. Oh, that could be a problem if I play rook up. He might have rook c2. I'm actually going to go queen here. I'm going to threaten to jump across and offer a queen trade. I'm like a minute and a half down on the clock now. I've got to quicken up soon. Yeah, giving him a little bit too much time. If the queen wanders off though, queen here followed by knight up could be a threat. Or equally rook across. But right now not easy to get through. e5 looks like a nice move though. If I could get e5 in and chip away at this pawn structure. e5, does he play f5? Then we go e4 just before he can run his pawn down the board. So down now, e5, down now. That feels alright though. I can then really try and control the dark squares. But it could be good for our opponent. It could be. We're gonna see what he does. And then figure out a plan. But yeah, the more I look at that though, e5, if I could get e4, and I like the look of that. And it could even simply like free up the rooks to come across later in the game, even if it's 10 moves time or something. Maybe we can work on the queen side, but it feels like the king side is where we should try to focus, but not easy to see how we actually achieve that. But e5, we get rid of one of his defending pawns and his king's a bit open. I don't like that move. That feels really bold to me. Unless he wants to go here, rook across, but I think that more tempts me for e5 even more. So say he pushes and we go e4. If he ever pushes here, we can take. Yeah, I'm going to play it fairly quickly. The only thing I've got to look out for here, like I say, is rook c2, but one rook does guard the other, and I can run the queen away if needed. So I'm aware of that move. If he takes, now we take. So he's attacked our queen. Okay. So I think we should just calmly drop back here. Does it matter where? I'll go here. So rook c2 now only attacks my rook. Here, I can just push forward. We're threatening to maybe move the knight and attack this pawn as well now, but again, it's not easy. But knight here threatens to come here, and we attack this pawn at the same time. So knight d5 could be a move. Excuse me. I guess from white's point of view, like I say, if you can imagine the king moving, the rook across, the rook up, and then the king behind the rook. So if you could pick the rook up and put it here, that would be very good, and then get the other rook across. Still a lot of danger here, a lot of danger. But we're simply threatening to win a pawn right now. He can't take back because of the pin. So there is a threat on the board. He's moved his queen, so doesn't that just allow us to still push forward as we planned? But he's going to get his queen on a good file. But say here, we've still maybe got knight across. So are we better off taking the pawn while we can? If he takes knight across and we attack the pawn and the queen, and then maybe knight in and get rid of the bishop. I'm looking at this move though to restrict his bishop, but it means my pieces are tied down protecting my pawn. But is it a good move? I think he just goes here. Now I'm going to take it. We'll check after the game. It might have been better to push on there. We'll check after the game, but I've got to try and get some activity, get my rooks forward. So if he goes with the queen, I'm looking at knight across, attack the pawn, attack the queen, but I think he can just simply drop back. But then we can maybe look at a move like knight here, rook up and do a rook lift, something like that, either rook. So I'd expect him to go with the queen to keep his pawn structure intact here, but he doesn't have to. He might have another move in mind, but he has. So knight here now, we attack the queen, we attack this pawn, we threaten knight to c3. But if I go here, has he got a simple move here? And he threatens to come in. Knight here, it is protected. He comes down, we can attack the queen and close the diagonal. And then we've got knight c3. Or have we got a move better, like say rook up and we attack the pawn that way and activate rook? Actually, I like that. I like the look of that. I like that more. Keep this solid. I can always go g6 if I need to, but I'm activating a rook, pressuring his king side. And say here now, knight moves and we double attack the pawn, but I might have to throw g6 in first, just to deal with this so we don't forget about it and blunder it in one move. That does happen. And the slight issue going here is I can't centralize this way, but I can double rooks up on the c file. That's exactly what he's done. So I've got knight across to attack the queen and double attack here. And we can still protect our knight. So that looks like a good move to me. I don't see how he creates that mate threat in one go. And here, queen down, say we just trade, we can check and collect the pawn. And the pawn's a pawn, right? Knight here. Yeah, I don't see the advantage. I'm going to go here, hit the queen, hit the pawn twice. I'd expect a move like queen down, but let's just see. But queen down, queen takes, pawn takes, rook check, either square. We can collect the pawn. And it feels like we've got a good position, but it's still not easy to convert. We're down to 3 minutes each now. But queen down here, I don't think I've got any other candidate moves. There isn't a trick. He's found it. So let's just take and check. I can pretty much pre-move this, but there's no need to. And now I'll try and get my knight back and potentially a rook across for a side mate. But I've got to watch out that I've got my own back rank mate issues if my rook wanders off. But yeah, knight back would blockade my rook from doing this, but his king's trapped on the side, so there's a side mate threat. But can we actually execute it? If I push a pawn, it stops my rook coming across. So if I go up now, he's got that back rank mate threat himself. So what to do, what to do? I think for now I'll just drop the knight back, and then I can always throw a check in. I can trade the rook here if I need to. He's playing well here though, he's doing very well. So this is going to be difficult. If he plays rook down, I can't go up here to guard. I can go here, then I'm passive. But rook trades, we get the momentum of a move. That's what he's done. He's gone after that pawn. So has he seen my idea to go for a checkmate? Maybe. But that's the only way to protect it, right? I don't see anything better right now. I think I'm going to try and... Oh, Andrew, I was going to say I can't go here. I'll lose my knight. And if I go here, it doesn't break the back rank issue anywhere. But I can check here and win a pawn now. Either way, I can win one of these pawns. And I've maybe got rook back to challenge this rook. But he's got a back rank mate threat, hasn't he? I've got to be really careful. Actually, I might have just blundered up. I have to go here, don't I, to avoid the back rank mate. If I take the pawn with check and he goes here, I'll check actually here. I can check here. Forward, I can check here. Forward, I'm still in a back rank mate net. So I think I go here first, and I'm threatening to win a pawn now. And if he pushes it, maybe... Well, actually, if he pushes it too, I can still check. I'm lucky. And he can't move his king to attack the knight. But I've got to give myself a square there. He's threatening the back rank, which he could still do and force a rook off. And if I check here, he can go this way, so he doesn't have to walk forward. So check here, I think I have to take. Then I can't actually defend this pawn. I could be in real serious trouble here. That's his best move, I think, isn't it? I take, he checks, I go up. He goes after this pawn. It's not possible to guard it. I can win a pawn here, but we could be just hopelessly lost here because his king's blocking our pawn and we're not blocking his pawn. Yeah, he just has to be quick enough. He's down to a minute now. But I think I've gone wrong with this concept. I need my other rook back here, then I'd be fine. So having this like this is a bit misplaced. Check king up, he takes my rook. There's no mate net, so I have to trade. I've already calculated that. He just goes here, hits the pawn. So I'll check. If he goes here, I can go here. That's checkmate. He's walked into it. I can't believe he's done that. He just had to step back and he hasn't calculated it and he's walked into a mating net. I might have been worse there. Let's just pause and check that with the engine and see if we've messed up at the end. It felt like it. 39 moves there, the move times for both players there. But let's just analyse it. Yeah, if he dropped his king back, I think he might have been better. But we'll just see. He was indeed. We have messed up there, so we're -4. Just hopelessly lost. We've done really well out of the opening, and we've gone to +6, and then we've blundered it away. And then we've been lost, basically, and then he's just blundered it at the end. So not very good figures, 76 against 71 on the accuracy. And round about move 28 is where we're looking at, and then move 35, where the concept we came up at the end was not good. But you see, all the opening, not bad from either of us. So we'll just quickly flick through. But you'll see this type of structure in lots of my d4 games. So this was all good here. Bishop back was a mistake. So taking there was good. But I should have played knight forward straight away there, offering the queen trade and hitting the pawn. So I didn't actually see that move, knight up to attack the pawn. That's what I should have done, instead of keeping the queen on. And then I should have played knight there again to attack this pawn. I just didn't see that move, so that's why I didn't do that. But you see, we're slightly better here, and we managed to build it up to +6, and then we've missed the winning concept. I should have played g6 really early to just close this diagonal. Then we just went the wrong way. Should have played g6, as you can see. But this was good. Rook c4 was good. Oh, just a simple pin on the queen. I didn't see it. I didn't see it because I was thinking ahead. I didn't see that I could just pin the queen. You know, when you see that there, it's the most basic, simple move on the board, isn't it? Just rook across, the knight protects it, you pin the queen, you win the game. Well, you should win the game. That's why I've lost that +6 advantage, because I'd seen this line, so I wasn't looking ahead. And then suddenly we've gone wrong here, and we end up losing. So I should have played knight check instead of going across to guard here, but it's still level. And now here I had to take the pawn there, and I've blundered the game away with g6. So I've lost it with g6, and it's now basically lost. So check was good. And then he's blundered with rook c6. Yeah, he had the king forward to attack the rook. And then what would I do? h6 there. King to h4. h6 I have to play. Then he does f4 to hit the rook again, and I have to concede the knight, and it's just lost, isn't it? Nothing I can do. With correct play, you're even allowing for the rating gap, it's just hopeless. This, unless, you know, some miracle happens, it's just hopeless. So I just didn't see that. So that's why we've just blundered the game, where he's blundered it back and then walked forward. It's now +4 for us, so even if he goes back, we should be winning again, even with this position. So let's have a look at this line. So we drop the knight back and collect the other pawn, I guess. I'll actually come back to e5, not take the pawn here. Oh, we've got a mating net. We've got a mating net. We're threatening knight here for the checkmate. So he has to play back. Knight forward anywhere. Then he drops back and not trades. I suppose we are a couple of pawns up if he trades there. Rook across. And now there's no danger for us losing this side, and we're actually fine. As long as you see their moves, yeah. But very easy to go wrong in these positions, isn't it? That's exactly what we did do. And then we got lucky at the end with the checkmate. So unlucky there.